Hey there, everyone. We are going to get started here momentarily. Excuse the word soup that just came out of my mouth. But we have quite a bit of cold air coming back into the forecast, so wanted to dive into snowfall, how we predict it, and also talk about what is on the way snowfall-wise, because a couple of us could see a few inches of snowfall tonight into tomorrow, but it's really going to be as you go further on off to the north. We have those winter weather advisories in place. That is mainly for those lake effect snow belt areas. So on the west side of the state, US 131, all the way towards US 127, Interstate 75, that interchange. And we have one county under a winter weather advisory, and that's right here into Roscommon County. That is going to be, and I'll give you the information right now, from later tonight until about 7 p.m. local time on Friday. I'll give you the specifics of what the National Weather Service is talking about. So midnight tonight to 7 p.m. Friday for 2 to 5 inches of snow into Roscommon County. Of course, the closer you are to Lake Michigan, the more likely you'll see maybe some of those heavier snow bands. The snow hasn't really been all that significant here today, but over the last few hours, it has been popping back up a little bit more on the west side of the state and into northern lower Michigan. We'll see this continuing to get worse and worse throughout the overnight into our Friday morning. I also wanted to talk to you about how we in the weather business kind of take what the models show us and give you an output on how much snow could fall. So we take what is the melted equivalent of the snow. So if you took an inch of snow and you melted it down, you'd maybe get about 1.1 inches of liquid. Or if you said we got 0.1 inches of rain, it would be an inch of snow. And that's right in between 23 and 34 degrees because the snow has a little bit more water content. It's not as fluffy and fine as we would see when it gets colder. So in between about 20 to 27 degrees, we start to increase that snow ratio. So for every 1/10 of an inch of rain, we would get 1.5 inches of snow, or for every inch of rain, we would get 15 inches of snow. And that's because it's a little bit drier, a little bit finer, so that snow is able to stack up a little bit more freely. You have more air in between those snow crystals, and as it gets colder and colder, we get fluffier snow. So it's not as fine packing snow. We talk about if we had an inch of rain, we would get 20 inches of snowfall if it's cold enough, between about 15 and 19 degrees. And we are going to see these colder temperatures tonight. So our snow ratio is going to be in between about 15 to 20 for every inch of rain, or for every inch of melted down snowfall. Now, we get the fluffier, finer snow because it's drier. You have more air in between those snow crystals to give us some of those higher snowfall totals. So temperatures tonight will fall down into the lower 20s, so we'll likely see a snow ratio maybe 15 to 70, 17 per 1, so 15 to 70 inches of snow per 1 inch of rain if you melted it down. Now, we're not going to see anywhere close to an inch of melted down snowfall, but those higher end, fluffier snowfall ratios will give some spots a fluffy accumulation of about a couple inches or more in spots with that lake effect snowfall. Temperatures right now all below freezing, so everything that is melted recently, any of that melted snowfall from today or the last couple of days, likely a bit icy now that we are past sunset. We still have a couple light flurries being reported into Oscoda, the rest of the area under those cloudy conditions. The winds have not been all of our friends today. We've seen that steady wind coming out of the west and the northwest at about 5 to 15 miles per hour, bringing those wind chills down into the teens. And those wind chills are going to stay into the teens tomorrow. We have one clipper system that's happening right here. We have that low that's spinning around and continuing to move off to our south. But it is going to bring this wave in, re-energize some of those lake effect snow showers, and give us the possibility of some light accumulating snowfall tonight into our Friday. For those overnight lows, those are in blue on the left side of these cities. we are seeing those lows down into the lower 20s. Then we'll see mid-20s, maybe even some upper 20s for the highs on Friday. All of this being below freezing, so any snow that is able to come through will stick and likely create just a dusting of snowfall. You can see by 4 a.m. we have those lake effect bands that are starting to progress off of Lake Michigan and will eventually make it into our region, and that'll continue on and off for the morning on our Friday. By noon on Friday, we're seeing a couple bands setting up here with that more northwesterly wind, so don't be surprised if you see some snow, and if you have a light accumulation that comes from the snowfall, we will see that starting to wind on down, wrap up by Friday evening. So the worst of the conditions will happen late tonight after midnight and get into about Friday afternoon. By Friday evening and Saturday morning, just a couple snow flurries, and by the end of the day on Saturday, we could potentially start to see a little bit of sunshine before a sunnier day on Sunday, which is expected to occur to end the weekend. Here's those snowfall totals. One thing I also want to mention is I've gotten a couple questions. What is the T when we talk about snowfall accumulation? So a T is a trace of snow. We talk about a trace of snow like a light dusting, just a little bit of a fine accumulation right there on the surface. You're not going to be able to stick a ruler and really get a measurement, but there's enough snow on the ground for it to be noticeable, for it to cause issues. So a trace of snow is when we talk about the T, or a dusting of snowfall. Very light accumulation that's not really going to stack up, but enough that could cause some issues and enough that is noticeable. So with this Friday snowfall, we're going to see the worst of the accumulation, a couple inches right up in here into Roscommon and Ogemaw counties. The rest of the area will only see about a dusting to maybe a couple tenths of an inch, maybe upwards of half of an inch if we do get some of these bands that come through. As we're seeing right now, some of these bands on this model are setting up into our far northern communities, so from Eau Gray all the way into the Thumb, where we could see maybe upwards of an inch of snow, and then also down here Alma to Owasso. But that's just one model's opinion. Doesn't mean it's necessarily going to occur. Most of the area will just see that fine dusting of snow. And then our eyes turn to Sunday into Monday. You can see a big winter storm that'll take shape in the central United States and then move into the Ohio Valley. But you can also see that that low is right about here, and we are going to see that cruising towards the East Coast with a lot of this snow staying to the south of us. So we are not likely going to see any significant wintry weather from this storm system. That'll likely remain into the Ohio Valley, but could still give us a little bit of light snow in the area as we get Sunday night into our Monday. If you've been hearing rumblings about a major winter storm for mid-Michigan or the state of Michigan, not going to happen here. That's going to stay off to our south. Here's that 7-day forecast. Going to stay in the low to mid 20s for the highs and mainly teens to maybe even a few single digits for our overnight lows. In general, colder than average, below average temperatures with some snow showers tomorrow, snow flurries on Saturday, and then a chance of snow with some flurries Monday through Wednesday. Not really going to accumulate or make it into anything that is necessarily measurable or all that impactful. And before we wrap this, comments below about the snow and the cold. If not, we'll wrap it up here momentarily. Want to wish you all a wonderful new year ahead. Hopefully you were able to spend some time with friends and family, ring in the holidays, ring in the new year in style, and hopefully 2025 is your best year yet.